Good evening. Thanks for being here. Most of you know that by now that on November the 27th, 2017, after only a brief and relatively mild symptoms, I was diagnosed with stage 4B metastatic pancreatic cancer. Mere weeks before my diagnosis, I was playing soccer with my over 50 team, and the only sign that anything was wrong was some bloating and mild fatigue. You all know that this stage of pancreatic cancer is an incurable condition, and though the palliative chemo I am receiving may extend my survival by a few months and minimize some symptoms, I will be unable to work again. I wanted to talk to you today for two purposes. One, I want to see my ProHealth family again because leaving abruptly the way I did felt like unfinished business. The other unfinished business I would like to explain to you now. Somebody recently asked me what I'm most proud of in my life. Of course, I'm immensely proud of what we built at ProHealth, but it is my other family that brings me most pride of all. Together with my beautiful, wise, and empathetic wife, Dorothy, we have two amazing children and two grandchildren. Our son could have been described, and okay, I did describe him, as an underachiever during his school years, but ended up excelling in college and developed an interest and talent in computers and programming that's delighted me and has him working in IT recruitment in Portland, Oregon. He is one of the most kind, caring, and funny people I know, and has the knack for making personal connections, a talent that is so valuable in his personal and professional life. He has also inherited my great taste in women, and we were so delighted to welcome his wife Emily into our family in 2016. Our daughter Becca's story is very different. Smart as a whip, she kept 2 steps ahead of us most of her life, leaving us panting as we tried to keep up with her. After completing her BFA in jewellery at the School of the Museum of Fine Arts and a BA in Women's Studies and Comparative Religion at Tufts, she decided to pursue her passion for women's empowerment through a master's degree. She took a gap year to get some experience working overseas before applying to grad school, and during that year she spent most of her time working at an orphanage in Tanzania, run at the time for the previous 25 years by the wonderful Martha Ayo, known as Mama Pendo in her community. While there, Becca started a small non-profit called The Small Things, or TST, to support the orphanage. The name came from a quote by Mother Teresa: we can do no great things, only small things with great love. Becca went to London to do a 2-year Masters of Public Administration at the London School of Economics, buzzing back and forth to Africa and raising money for the small things. Through this organisation, which Dorothy and I also helped her found and still run through our home address, we were able to improve staffing, lighting, water provision, and build needed improvements to the Nkoaranga orphanage building. Interestingly, Becca's work echoed that of her grandmother, Hilda Goldberg, a Holocaust survivor who, at the age of 20, created and ran a daycare centre at Bergen-Belsen from the days immediately after its liberation for the next 2 years. Their common love of children was a bond between them that motivated and inspired Becca. After she finished her degree, Becca returned to Tanzania with her new husband Rizwan and settled there. She began the process of adopting her 2 children from the orphanage, Zawadi and Simon, found a donor to underwrite the cost of the Happy Family Children's Village, which allowed the children who aged out of the orphanage at age 5 to stay together and live in family-style groups, and built what may be TST's most successful program, Outreach, which has enabled many families to keep their children at home rather than surrendering them out of need to the orphanage or other institution. In these last 4 years, TST has gone from a simple support organisation for the orphanage to one of the largest employers in the Nkoaranga community, with more than 45 employees caring for 50 residential children full-time, as well as over 100 kids who are able to stay with their families. I asked everyone to come here and listen to this, not as a sob story or as a simple appeal on my behalf. This disease and my life has been teaching me that I, and probably everyone here today, have been the luckiest people in the world. We have more than average security, we have consistency in our lives, and we have had huge opportunities. What I am asking, in short, not for me, but for yourselves, is to pay it forward. Take some of what you have received and put it in a place where it can do so much to provide security, education, and a future for those who otherwise have none of these. There are many good causes, but TST is certainly one with the potential for local and system change that work and can be modelled all over Africa. The legacy fund that I am establishing with $100,000 seed money from our family will try to ensure that the month-to-month vagaries of fundraising will be less of a burden, so the work of changing lives goes on uninterrupted. Finally, I want you to know this is evidence-based. Making donations has been shown to enhance your quality of life and happiness. Thank you for the years of friendship and collegiality that we have shared, for the problems we have worked through and solved, for the great joy of working at ProHealth. I will never forget the love and support you have shown tonight and since my diagnosis. My family and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts.